your girl, Ahlee the Great. Welcome to our morning breakfast show. It's a little bit of breakfast with Babe. What's up, Babe?
Hi.
Hi. Welcome. Thank you for joining forces with me and doing this show.
Of course.
I'm really excited to have breakfast with my babe, and also for us to like share some ideas with the people at home. Today is our first show, so let's just introduce ourselves. Let's just like keep it real basic. We don't have to go into anything too major, but
Okay.
we can just introduce the folks.
Yes.
Baby, this is Vivian and I am Ahlee. Hi. Sorry. It's such a weird way to do that. Sorry. Introduce yourself, baby.
Yes, I'm Vivian. I'm a Michigan native.
She's refraining to say the thing. You want to say it?
Michigan alone.
What else?
Oh, I'm a Libra. It's the go-to, thing to say. I'm such and such. I'm a Libra.
Mm-hmm.
I like long walks on the beach. Actually, I don't. Sand. So.
Not your favorite?
No.
Very interesting.
Sand just gets everywhere.
I can see that, baby. So what is our show about, baby? We're just gonna wake up and eat breakfast and just chat, right?
Right, yeah. That's kind of the game plan. We
Nice.
typically talk about like what we had planned for the day, what we ideally had planned for the day.
I like that you said ideally. A very important part. Because sometimes things don't go as planned. But, I am Ahlee the Great, to be specific. That's what I go by. That is my ad on Instagram and Facebook and all that good stuff. So if you're out there and you're watching and you'd like to be my friend, search me up on any platform at Ahlee the Great. So we are about to have blueberry grapes again, because we had it last night or yesterday morning. We actually intended on shooting yesterday and doing our podcast for the first time yesterday and kind of giving you guys an introductory to the show. But everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. Am I right, baby? I broke the tripod.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't figure out the audio. I was pleasantly woken up by the cutest girl in the world. And so some of the things that we are talking about this morning, I'm going to jump right into it because, I think relationship dynamics and navigating mornings and, just everything that comes with a relationship, my friends. There's so many things to juggle outside of just like the typical things. Like sometimes it's like managing a morning with your partner. Like what if your partner is like a personality A and you're like a type B and you're just like really chill and your partner's like, go, 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 go. Not saying that that's our dynamic or anything, but I just think that there are so many factors and things that come into play in relationships that people don't really talk about enough, babe.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, it's a learning lesson as you navigate prior relationships. I would definitely say. At least that's what I always go back to. It's like, I didn't do this in my last relationship. So like, how do you, I don't know, be open to being told like this is a new norm, or this is something that you should be considerate of. And
Right.
I think that being considerate is like the priority, and that's what will lead you through or help you through some really tough times. Like thinking about like you, regardless of how stressful it may be in that moment, for me personally, it's about you in the end. Like
It's about us.
It's about us, yes. And so I'm still learning how to navigate through that.
Me too. I like that you use that word though, consideration, because that's a big thing. And I think in everything I do, I try to be considerate of how that's going to affect you, or, you know, how, because in times, like, our personalities go really well, but there are often times where, like, we're complete opposites, and we have to figure out how to, like, how are we going to figure this out? And so I think I love that you said that word, because it's not just being considerate, but it's like being considerate in those moments where it's like, why the fuck she chopping onions like that? Why does she gotta do that like that? Like I wouldn't do it like that. Like, let me just be considerate of, but and that's like the growth and like the moments where things get testy. That's the stuff people don't want to talk about. They don't want to say like, oh, um, you know, let's talk about the routines, right, in the morning, like where baby might want to sleep, you know, after 9 or whatever, but you know, there are times where I can't sleep at 4 in the morning. I'm just like up, and it's hard to be considerate in those moments. But that's when it really matters, because I'm like, I'll get up at 4 a.m. and sometimes like I'll just be still as fuck for like 2 hours. Like, I try so hard. But baby, by the time like 7 and 8 rolls around, I'm like, But that's funny. It's like, I think navigating every day with another person is such a challenge, and I'm up for the challenge every day with you. And I think it's just knowing who you can, you know, find compromise. Like, cause I mean, I don't care what it is with you. Even when it's frustrating, I'm like, I want this. You know, I want to do this with her. Whereas, you know, I can think back in past relationships like, oh, it makes sense why that didn't work. And like, it would be little shit like, man, why she breathe like that? Like, that is so weird. Like, I just can't deal with this. Like, I have to go. Whereas you, you know, we're going through some like really like tough things. And this is just the beginning. And I'm just like, you know, wow, I learned so much from that. Or like, I'm just intrigued, or like you're pulling your shit and you're being a brat, and I'm just like, kind of want to give in. Because I love that face. Like, I'm like, when she gets her way though, like, but I gotta deal with the consequences of what that does. So,
are there any consequences?
Yes. Yes. And they're like, babe, but I don't want to do that. And then when I want to do something, it's like, why we gotta do that? You know I'm right.
Slightly, just slightly.
I mean, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with the challenges and complications that come with a life partner, you know?
You said something. It was even when in our most frustrating moments, you still want to be there, and you still want this. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that I don't think anyone's ever said that to me. I don't think anybody's ever said, I'm mad at you, but I still like you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you most people I found, like, they're just like, I bet I'm mad at you, and that's what I'm focused on. So I don't know, it definitely widened my eyes. Mm-hmm. And it made me again more considerate. Like, man, someone said that to me, like, that means that they really want to be there. Like,
wow.
And even when I did something that totally pushed their boundary, and you know, that meant a lot. Like,
still into you, I'm into you, butterfly. Right. But yeah, no, I can totally see evolution and growth in my personal life and relationships. So I think, like, for all the viewers out there that are like want to throw rocks at us, rightfully so, right? I get that, like, cause you know how when a couple's like so cute, you're like, oh, shut the fuck up. But it's so like I get it, but there was so much work that came with being the person that I am now to be the partner that I'm able to be now, and I think although I'd hate to treat my past relationships like they were like, you know, experiment 4242699, because it wasn't that. It was just these were the places where I really learned myself, and I really learned, damn, this is the result of that behavior. This is the result of this behavior, and I'm so much more, like you said, I'm big picture when it comes to how I relate to, or how I'm able to be with you, like the partner I'm able to be, because like I would look back in relationships where, you know, and we still go through our shit because trauma takes years to unpack and to decompartmentalize and all that. But I can look back in relationships that I was in where I would have, where we have challenging moments, and I'll just shut down, and I'm just like, I just won't say anything at all, ever. And it's just like nothing gets resolved, and you're kind of like hitting a wall. And I can now have all of these experiences at my utility to say, all right, I remember what walking down that road was like. And it's not to say that I never had any good relationships, because I had plenty of good relationships, but I had relationships where I was the bad guy in good relationships, and I had relationships where I was, you know, awful, and I said awful things and was very hurtful, and I didn't recognize how that was, you know, causing me to like revisit different experiences at the same time. Like I'm going through the same cycle. So in order to even be emotionally prepared to, you know, be with someone like you, or in a relationship like we had, because I think that you probably, like me and you have said the same time, like if we would have met each other 5 years ago, we would have been a bad influence on each other. Not to say we wouldn't have dated. It would have just been awful. And yeah, and just because I wasn't ready to face certain parts of myself, you know, I wasn't ready to be honest about certain, you know, barriers that I had set within myself, certain experiences. I wasn't willing to, you know, really take advantage of my therapy, versus where now my therapist calls me and I'm like, whew, girl. Anyway, let me tell you. And so like I want to hear kind of your experiences too, and how they've shaped you to even be in this place, because I know like this morning you and I had a really meaningful conversation, but it for sure came from experiences that have shaped you, you know. So like I want to hear you speak to that kind of.
Yeah, definitely. Let's just unpack that. That's nothing. That's minimal. No, I mean, like I said before, in my Phoebe voice, like I didn't do that in my last relationship. I just, you know, you just think like a comparison is really easy to as a go-to. Just say like I didn't do that, and then when you start to compare, you either realize like that was a bad thing that happened to me, or that wasn't a very good example of how a successful relationship should go about. I'll give you a more detailed example. Problem solving. I realized that is something that needs to be established before you even become romantic. Like, I recall in a previous relationship that when me and my partner would have a conflict or something that upset them, they would shut down. That would be their response. And then I'm in their face like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Like, how can I help? Like,
and then just like further shutting down.
Further shutting down. Like, I remember like an exact moment of like, I literally was sitting in front of them. They picked me up and they moved me. And then they walked off the room.
Damn.
And so from that example, I realized that is not how I want to problem solve. I want someone who's going to help, who's actually going to contribute, or maybe, I don't know, like at this point in time, I think that maybe being understanding of how that person problem solves, and then they have an understanding of how you problem solve, and then you just kind of finding some happy medium. But
Right.
at that moment in time, me and that person were opposite spectrums. And I was like, this is not working. I can't figure it out. I don't know what's going on. So, you know, maybe if I gave them time, and they would have came to me, but we never got to that point. We were just kept frustrating one another.
So it really is no, like, resolve. It's just kind of...
You just kind of become complacent, and that's how your partner behaves. And then that's kind of like the beginning of the end.
Oh, damn. Well, damn. Because I can think of so many times where, you know, because every couple is going to have, I guess, things that come up. It doesn't necessarily have to be an argument. Sometimes things just come up because we process differently, we think differently, we have different minds. There is a beginning. There is a part where, shit, I'm getting to know someone. And eventually you get to a place where you understand them a little bit better. But you can't rely on what you know about a person to be you knowing a person. And I'd like to think that you and I, when things do come up, there's a period of, like, you know, maybe there is like a distress of like, okay, what the fuck's going on in her head? What's going on in her head? What am I feeling? What is she feeling? And then there's a space between for both parties to process. And then there's a conversation, and it's never something that I feel forced to do. It's never something that I feel like is gonna, you know, be mistreated or mishandled. It's just like, it's such a natural flow of events that it's almost scary sometimes, because the minute I feel something, I'm like, I'll try to analyze it and process it. And, you know, that's my new response, because the old me would have been like, what's the fuck is this about? Or, you know, it would have been like, you know, being completely irrational, or being just like so isolated that, you know, you're feeling like, damn, I feel like I'm in the house by myself. Or, you know, the new behavior is just like, wow, what are all these overwhelming feelings? And let me just sit with them for a moment so that I can process what I'm actually even feeling. And then, you know, the tenseness is causing us both to like kind of yearn for each other in a sense. You know, I don't wait to apologize. I don't wait to express. It's so natural and it's so real and so raw that I feel like every moment is like there's like metamorphosis happening. There's this initial thing that's happening. You know, it might be a past trauma. It might be a you know, something that comes up. And I just feel so much closer to you every time that we're able to just resolve things together, and we hug afterwards, and like we hugged before, and like you're so good about being there for me in your own ways, and without fail you always manage to show up, and I just admire that so much. And it's one of, you know, the reasons why I chose you, if I'm being honest.
It was the smile for me. She had a really nice smile. Like, I just couldn't. No, I definitely chose you too. And with that being said, that meant that I chose to, I don't know if this is the proper word or not, but I chose to adult up. I chose to participate in a relationship that required commitment, that required honesty, and not just, I can curse, right?
Yeah.
Oh, not be on some fuckboy shit. Like, you know, because I could have went that route. I definitely could have. You know, not that I wanted to, or that anyone really intentionally does that, but I intentionally said that I wanted to be in a committed relationship. Well, actually, my search was for LGBT friends, and with that, I would hope that I would create meaningful relationships, regardless if they're romantic or not. But I just felt like I don't want enough LGBT people, and especially of color, like that. I felt like I wanted a sense of community.
Yeah.
But you know, it was definitely the smile that allured me.
Don't front.
Whatever.
Are you serious?
Yes, definitely. I'm not lying.
I like that because, you know, I was so self-conscious about like my teeth for so long, and this is the year that I was like, you know what, man, I love my teeth. I have a great smile.
Yes. I love your smile. I really do.
Gap girls, we out here. Unite, click up, man. If you got a gap, show love. We gonna show love. We normalize now. I'm so tired of everybody thinking that just because, you know what I'm saying, all y'all teeth connect together that y'all better than us. Okay?
Rightly so.
That's right.
But yeah, I chose you, and I wanted you, and I wanted what this challenges and all. You. I don't know. There's something that has to click. That says like either you're gonna rise to the occasion or you're not, and it would be rude. It would not malicious, but like in my opinion, rude to just mess around with someone's feelings, their time, their energy. You know, the feelings that they develop, like.
No other person would I rather do this with. No other person.
And vice versa, yes, and ditto.
Thank you, Queen.
Thank you.
All right, friends and family. I think we're going to close out this first segment of Breakfast with Bae. I feel like this is a perfect introduction into kind of our worlds and what we have going on in our life. But we want to share more. We want to connect more. So feel free to reach out to us via comment, DM me. Like I said, you can find me anywhere in the world at Ahlee the Great. So don't forget that. Vivian is a little more private, but I'm sure she wouldn't mind if you were to reach out to her via email. I'll make sure to make all of those things available for you guys. So stay connected. Breakfast with Bae. Yeah, love first, love always. Later. Thank you, baby.